Hello everyone, welcome to your favorite indirect tax lectures of Mr. GST. This is your Professor C. A. Vishnuvardhan. We are here today for discussing RTP of May 2022. Are we ready? So shall we start the discussion? Shall we start solving the problems, RTP problems? Right? So fine, hope you are able to see the screen, I guess. Fine. As you see in the main exam actually. See, GST portion is for 40 marks, right, at your CA intermediate level. So out of this 40 marks, 12 marks will be MCQ questions. And when the MCQ based questions were introduced in the exam, obviously they were asking some straight MCQ questions. Just like how you're writing your CA Foundation Economics exam, they'll give you a straight question and give the 4 options, and they were asking the MCQs. Now they have shifted the trend recently from few attempts in such a way that where they will give you a concept completely, they will give you a case study or a scenario, you call it. They'll explain you a lot of things, and out of that they'll ask you various questions, and this case study based questions are framed in such a way that where they are testing multiple provisions, not a single provision, right? So you should be having an overall idea about the GST syllabus. So here one advantage for us is in this MCQ questions, even though here and there, if any chapter you have not studied, even though here and there some provisions if you forgot, the case study based question is going to cover multiple provisions. Some or the other provisions will help you to answer. So it is not like all MCQs you will answer or all MCQs you cannot answer. Even though you missed out already 1 or 2 concepts, nothing to worry. So you can still go with the other questions, right? Fine. So without wasting the time, let us proceed with the first question in this RTP. So this is a case study given first. So after this case study, they have given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions, 5 MCQs. So first, let us understand the case study. So first, you people read the case study. You people read the case study. Then I will highlight how to read the question. First, you read it once. Make it fast. But read carefully. Every wording in the question is very important. Yes. So hope you have read the question, right? Now, first of all, please understand, while reading the question itself, have you understood what are the possible questions actually here? Here and there, did you get some idea? Okay, this might be the question from this area, like that. You have understood certain things, right? Fine. So first, Vidula Impex Limited is engaged in supply of sports goods. So first thing we have to understand here is that this is nothing but related to goods. This fellow is dealer of goods, correct? That is the first thing we have to identify. Next, the company did not opt for registration under GST. The proper officer under GST, based on inquiry, finds that the concern is liable for registration, and he registered the firm on temporary basis on 15th June. Temporary registration granted. Do you remember any provision regarding this? Whether a proper officer can do so? Those who have revised chapter number 7 registration, you can recollect, I guess. Suo moto registration by proper officer. In what cases, if the proper officer finds that you are liable for registration, but still you have not registered in his any of the inquiry or search or inspection, whatever it is, then he can grant you the temporary registration. Correct? Yes. You're able to remember, recollect at least. Fine. Once the proper officer has given you the temporary registration, what you can do? What are the options you have?
Submit an
You can go for
application,
appeal if it is
registration
strong.
or appellate.
So option 1 is yes, you agree with his decision, you go for registration, or second one is
1090 days. File an appeal.
You can go for appeal within.
appeal. So what is the time limit? Do you remember? Like if you're going for the registration, if you're okay with
30
the
days.
30 days.
the officer's order, what you
90
can,
days.
you can apply for registration within
90 days.
exactly
90
90 days from the order, 90 days from the order. Suppose if
Yes,
you're going for the appeal, and in the appeal that is judgment is not in your favor, the court is supporting the decision of the department, then the appellate authority
30 days.
Within 30 days.
30 days.
then yes, 30 days from the date of order by the
Date
appellate
of order.
right?
Yes.
Fine, okay. After being granted the registration certificate, the company availed the services for the purpose of its business. That means these 2 points are sales or purchases are.
Purchase.
What? Renting.
You should respond, everyone.
What?
Please be very attentive.
Purchases.
Purchase.
Okay. Renting of motor vehicles from Blue Taxi Private Limited with GST charged at 12%.
Forward charge.
Exactly, very good. It is
Forward charge.
motor vehicle services, renting of taxi. So it is
Forward.
forward charge. Okay, fine. Next,
Forward charge.
appointed Mr. Rajesh as technical director for advisory role in business, and the payment was made based on the contract entered. However, he was not an employee of the company. Is it covered under schedule?
RCM.
Yes, sir. RCM.
Covered under schedule 3? No, it is taxable.
RCM.
It is not covered under schedule 3.
Tax.
Yes, exactly. It is taxable, and of course, it is under.
RCM.
RCM.
Okay, fine. Yes. During the course of its business, the company issued an invoice to a consumer and erroneously charged higher value by 34,000. That means whatever is the value,
Debit
apart from
note.
that, they have charged more value of
Yes,
Ah.
sir. Debit note.
Yes, sir.
34,000.
34,000. Such invoice was issued. Invoice was issued on 2021. Now tell me what is the remedy here if you have issued an invoice which is higher than the actual value, what you will do?
Debit
Credit note.
We have
Credit note.
credit.
We have to issue credit note or debit note?
Credit note.
Credit note. I have supplied you something.
Supply.
And supply, let us assume 100 rupees, but I have charged 120 rupees in the invoice.
No.
I should reduce the invoice value. Whatever the invoice I have generated, that invoice value I should reduce.
No.
That means I should give a credit note. If I want to
Yes,
increase
sir.
the invoice value of the invoice,
Then
given
debit
by
note.
me,
Debit.
you will understand. Invoice
Yes,
is given
sir.
by me, and I want to increase the value. I will issue a debit note. Invoice issued by me. I want to reduce the value. What should I do?
Debit. Credit. Credit. Credit.
Credit note.
Yes.
Credit.
Right. Okay. Further, in the month of Feb 2021, the company also generated an e-way bill for the interstate transport of goods. However, immediately on generation of e-way bill, the buyer cancelled the order before it is dispatched from the factory for delivery. What happened here? I have made a sale and I'm ready for transportation. I have generated the e-way bill. Before transportation, the buyer has cancelled the order. So we are stopping the, we have cancelled the journey. Correct? So the goods are not going
Within
to
24 hours, we can cancel the.
right. So here cancellation of e-way bill. Can I cancel the e-way bill?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Divakar, make sure you have not opened RTP and your.
Sir, no, sir.
Fine. Okay. Fine. Okay. So no cheating, ma. Please understand, no cheating.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Right. Okay. So yes, can we cancel the e-way bill? Might be the question. Of course, that was the question. So can we cancel the e-way bill?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
E-way bill can be cancelled. E-way bill can be cancelled within what time?
24 hours.
24 hours.
24 hours from the.
And the recipient has also cancelled it, sir, within 72 hours, or that provision is done.
That is acceptance or rejection. That is
Yes, sir. Acceptance, sir. Yes, sir.
Recipient has an option to accept the e-way bill or reject the e-way bill. But if the
E-way bill.
recipient is silent, it is deemed to be accepted.
Yes, sir.
Here, silence is acceptance. Clear?
Okay.
So here, yes, there is a chance of cancelling the e-way bill 24 hours. Yes, something the provision can be that can be tested there, right? Next, in the month of March 2021, since the company was incurring heavy losses, it applied for cancellation of GST on 15th March 2021. So they have asked for cancellation of GST registration on 15th March 2021.
Yes, sir.
They have applied. Yes or no? Please
Voluntary.
apply. When the order was given, my dear friends, when the order was given, order for cancellation was given on
30th March.
2021, affecting the cancellation with effect from
15th March.
please understand, order passed on 30th March, but effective date from which it got cancelled is 15th March only.
15th March.
We already discussed that the proper officer can cancel the registration with a retrospective date also. Clear? Fine. Next.
30 days.
That is what the
ITC
test
should.
is. From the information provided above, choose the most appropriate answer. They are not asking you to give the right answer. Most appropriate answer.
From the
Right.
information provided
So,
above.
first of all, first question. What is the first question? After the grant of temporary registration, Vidula Impex Limited needs to apply for registration within dash days from the date of grant of temporary registration, if no extension of period is to be granted for such temporary registration. What is the answer?
90 days, sir.
You need options, huh?
30 days.
90 days.
90 days.
30 days.
30, 97 and 15.
90 days.
90 days, sir.
Sure, पक्का?
Sure, sir.
लॉक कर दूं?
हाँ, lock करो sir. KBC.
ठीक है, कंप्यूटर जी P 90 days लॉक करो. Fine, let us lock it. See what is the final answer later on. Fine, second question. Fastest finger first.
Following service, the company is liable to pay tax.
Directorship.
Directorship
Services.
services, sir. B.
The directorship, sir.
Directorship, sure. Not renting of motor vehicles.
No,
Why not
sir.
renting of motor vehicles?
12% FCM already saw.
So 12%. If it was 5%, then we would have thought, right? Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
And if you remember, renting of motor vehicles, RCM, there is one more important point there.
Blocked credit.
In RCM only, for renting of motor vehicles, there is one more important point there. What is the nature of subplanar? Renting of motor vehicle where cost of fuel is included. So no, cost of fuel should be included. Yes or no? Now
Yes,
you
sir.
remember?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then what is the answer? Here, what is the answer?
Directorship services.
Directorship
Okay.
service.
Next. 3. Question number 3. Make fast.
B. Credit note.
B. Credit note.
Credit note.
Which document is required to be issued by the company in respect of the invoice
Credit
issued on
note, sir.
28th
Credit
2020?
note.
Credit or debit?
Credit.
Credit.
Okay. All these as of now triple B.
Triple V.
Bachchan Saab. Huh? Fine. Let us go with the next one. Question number 4. The company needs to file its final return by
By
30th of
30th August.
August.
What is the provision? When you should file
30
the
days.
final return?
So 30 days from the date of order of cancellation or
Within 3 months.
date of application, with whichever is later from that date, 30 days.
Divakar?
30th of
Yes, sir.
Within
What's
3
the
months
answer?
from date of order of cancellation.
Within, I am clear with within dash days of or within dash period from the date of cancellation or from the date of order of cancellation, whichever is
Later.
later. But I want the time period there.
So थोड़ा date दिखा दो sir.
30 days.
First of all, in the provision, I want the provision. First of all, there it was order of cancellation is on 30th March, but the date of cancellation is 15th March.
हाँ, whichever is
30th
later.
March or 31st March, Amma?
30th March.
30th March. So, which is later? 30th March.
30th
From
March.
30th March, I want how many? From 30th March, what is the time period within which I should file the final return?
from
31st day.
30
30
days.
days, 60 days, 90 days.
30 days, sir.
30 days, sir.
30 days, sir.
Divakar.
March.
Divakar, you did something different, I guess.
3
Within
months.
3 months, sir.
Or
Within
Santosh,
3
you are
months.
also supporting the same thing, huh? Within 3 months.
Yes, sir.
Within
Ravichandran, Ashish.
So 30 days, sir.
Right, it is 3 months, not 30 days.
option दे ही नहीं ना वही कर देंगे हम.
Final return is within 3 months. Within 3 months.
3 months.
If you see whatever we have discussed here,
हाँ 3 months.
sorry, returns, no?
हाँ sir.
Yes. Final return,
Yes,
GST are
teacher.
10. Final return,
Yes, sir.
GST are 10.
GST are 10.
Already the table given itself is very small for you and you have forgot the table itself. Huh?
3 months from the date of cancellation or 3 months from the date of.
GST are 10 from the date of cancellation or date of order of cancellation within 3
Later.
months. 3 months. Within 3 months. Right.
Yes.
So here within 3 months. The date of order of cancellation or date of cancellation, whichever is later, is 30th March. From 30th March within 3 months. That means 30th
30th
April, 30th May, and 30th
June.
June.
your
Option D.
no. Fine. For time being, let us see option D and we'll see finally what the computer says, which is right answer. Fine. Finally, the final MCQ. What is this? Which one of the following? You read and you answer.
Which in the month of
B, sir.
generated EV bill cannot be. Where bill can be answered. B sir.
B.
B.
Option D, sir.
Generation 24.
B, sir.
What is the answer?
E sir.
Obviously, let us not waste time. Already we have discussed the answer also. Fine. So this B, correct? So what are the answers here? Triple B, D, B. Again. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
We'll see what's your fate.
Mass cheating करेंगे तो
It is
Clearly
triple B, DB. It is triple B, DB. Right? Fine. Okay. So let us go with the descriptive questions. Fine. MCQs. Okay. Fine. So we have understood that a question is being tested, case study based question. The multiple choice questions given there are not belonging to same concept. They are trying to cover multiple areas, multiple provisions. Fine. Yes. Question number 6 for you. Question number 6. First read this part and I will show the next part below. Please be very careful while reading the question. So what is the answer, my dear friends?
Yes sir.
Need to recollect any provision here.
हाँ sir.
It's amendment provision.
Recent amendment.
Recent.
Amendment. So what is amendment?
Sir. The person.
Supplier.
Recipient can
The
generate
sup-
EV bill.
The person who has not generated, who has not filed the returns for 2 months cannot cannot generate a e-way bill for his outward supply, but can take for purchases. So
Yes. Everybody agrees with that?
but recipient can generate question.
Hmm?
Recipient can
Recipient.
generate a recipient can
So-
generate a EVA picture.
Here the question is related to Mr. Shambhu, a trader registered under GST, and Nandi registered under GST. Fine. So, who is supplying the goods to whom actually?
Mr. Nandi
Shambhu to Nandi
supplying
or Nandi
to
to Shambhu?
Shambhu. Nandi to Shambhu.
Nandi to Shambhu. Ah?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Nandi to Shambhu. And Shambhu to
Narayan.
Narayan.
to Narayan. Correct.
Narayan.
Yes,
So
sir.
here Shambhu, Nandi, and Narayan. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Or Nandi, Shambhu, Narayana. Nandi, Shambhu, Narayan.
Nandi Shambhu Narayan.
Alright.
Yes.
Nandi, Shambhu, and Narayan. Who defaulted here?
Shambhu.
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 Not filed the returns for past 2 tax periods. So that means according to rule 138E, e-way bill generation shall be blocked. You remember we have seen the cases if you are a composition
Yes, sir.
taxpayer, if you are not filed the returns for the 2 consecutive quarters,
To convince.
then you cannot generate e-way bill. And if you are under normal scheme also for the past 2 tax periods, if you have not filed your GST 1 or 3B, you cannot generate the e-way bill. Or if your registration is suspended, then also you cannot generate e-way bill. Clear? So in this case, yes, you cannot generate an e-way bill, but there is an amendment that you cannot generate an e-way bill. Means if at all in the e-way bill you are mentioned as a supplier, that means your GSTIN is mentioned as a supplier, then the e-way bill will not get generated. But if your GSTIN is mentioned as a
Recipient.
recipient or who can raise e-way bill generally?
Transporter.
Transporter.
Supplier,
Supplier, receipt.
transporter.
Transporter.
So if your GSTIN is mentioned as a supplier in the e-way bill, that's all. It will not get generated. But it can be mentioned as a recipient's GSTIN or transporter's GSTIN. Yes or no?
Yes.
So here the option is, sir, Nandi is a regular in filing. So he can generate an e-way bill, and this fellow Shambhu will get the e-way bill because his e-way bill GSTIN is mentioned as a recipient's GSTIN in the e-way bill. So no issues. But Shambhu to Narayan.
Narayan.
Shambhu to Narayan. In that case, Shambhu is not a
Registered supplier.
not filing regularly his returns.
Defaulter.
So his e-way bill generation is blocked. So if he is willing to generate e-way bill, no matter whether Shambhu is willing to generate e-way bill or Narayan is willing to generate e-way bill, in that e-way bill, supplier GSTIN is Shambhu's, who is blocked from generation of e-way bill, so it will not get generated. So here 2 e-way bills to be generated. First one can be generated, second one cannot be generated. Correct?
That's it. Yes.
Simple.
Yes, sir.
Shall we proceed? Shall we proceed?
Yes.
Any other doubts? Right? Okay. Shall we see the answer, the presentation of the answer, so that you'll get a clarity like how to present in the exam, all the stuff. See, when you are reading the RTPs, suggested answers, MTPs, all the stuff, whatever it is from ICA sources, make sure when you look at a question, especially the theory papers, when you look at the question, make sure you are reading the answer also line by line. It is not that we have to present it in the same way, but at least you can build your vocabulary and you can build your sentence formation knowledge, so that in the main exam you can reproduce the sentences, or you will know the style, how to write the answer, all the stuff. So that will be helping you in the main exam to present the answer. Fine. This is the answer for question number 6.
So rule number should be mentioned, sir.
Not mandatory. If you remember, fine. Otherwise, no issues. Don't worry.
So,
And then shall we proceed? Mr. Ayushman, hope it is not Purana. Fine. So see what has happened here. Then reading the question.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Fine. What is your answer, my dear friends?
So first one, 2000.
First of all, I want to tell you here
The
they are
table.
trying to ask you the maximum late fees.
Yes, sir.
I don't know who has drafted this question so beautifully without clarity. Seriously, after reading this question, I myself got the doubt whether there is any change in law. No, because there is daily late fees. No, late fees is calculated on day-to-day basis. If there is 2 days delay, what you will do? You will pay the late fee for 2 days only. No,
Yes.
will you pay 500 to 2,000 to 10,000?
No.
No, sir.
Then here the question should be, if at all there is a late fee, what is the maximum late fee? That was the intention of the question,
Question.
because that was the amendment, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You remember the amendment regarding late fees?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So the late fees, what we have discussed is nothing but 10,000 was the late fees generally,
Yes.
maximum.
Yes, sir.
100 rupees per day, 100 rupees per day, or 5,000, whichever is higher.
Yes.
Sorry, whichever is lower, whichever is lower.
No.
Right? So maximum late fee there it was 10,000, 5,000 plus 5,000 CGST plus
Above 5 crores. Yes.
yes, 5,000 SGST. That the maximum cap, whatever was the cap, that they reduced for people based upon their turnover, aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year. So their question was, even answer is regarding the maximum late fees, but they forgot even there is a daily late fees. So the question should be even more clear. So if at all there is a late fee, they would have asked you what is the maximum amount of late fee payable. It should have been the question. Fine, no issues. So first case, what is the answer, my dear friends?
2000.
It is 2000.
First, tell me what is the provision? What is the provision? What is the maximum late fees?
0 to 1.5 crore
1.5
turnover.
crore, 2000.
First of all, you should recollect the table properly, the flowchart properly.
Yes, sir.
I have drawn a flowchart. First case,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Nil return.
exactly.
return.
First case, nil return. If it is
500.
nil return, what is the maximum late fee?
500 rupees.
250 plus 250.
250.
If at all it is not a nil return, then again there are cases of
Three.
turnover.
Yes. Okay.
See,
Less than
please understand, if it is a nil return, no matter what is your aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year. Yes or
Yes,
no?
sir. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
If it is not a nil return, then again we'll go with the classification of what is your
Yes.
aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year. 0 to
1.5
crore.
what is the
1.5
maximum
crores.
late fees?
2000
2000.
1,000
SGST.
SGST.
Next, more than 1.5 crores, but up to 5 crores.
5 crores.
5 crores.
How much?
5,000.
5,000.
5,000.
5,000.
Yes.
Yes,
2525. Yes.
Yes,
2525. Okay, next.
Greater
More
than
than 5 crore.
Greater than
Greater than
5
5
crore.
crores?
10,000.
10,000.
5,000.
5,000. That means normal like section 47.
Sir.
No relaxation, nothing.
No, sir.
Nothing.
Sure, pakka.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Ah?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Have we answered all the questions here?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Hmm.
the line समझाएंगे September 2021 by 10th November 2021.
What he said, GSTR 3B for the month of September by 10th November. That means he filed the return of September GSTR 3B. When he filed it
10th
by 10th
November.
November. That means he filed on 10th November.
Sir.
Clear? Fine. The amount of tax payable he gave, that's a different story. Fine. Okay, leave it. Is it clear? Is it clear now? What is the due date for GST 3B of September month?
20th October.
20th October.
20th October.
20th?
October.
October.
Sure, Pakka.
Yes.
In case of monthly review.
If it is under QRMP scheme,
22 or 24.
22 or 24.
Ayushman is from which state we don't know. So 22 or 24 based upon from which state he is. Clear?
Yes, sir.
It is QRMP. Fine. Very good. Very good. So let us look at the answer.
The registered person is verified through the preceding financial year and who fails to furnish the return required under section 49.
If you are not able to recollect the section number in the main exam, you can straight away write according to the provisions of CGST Act 2017. If you are not even able to recollect the act name also, God only should save. So let us move on to next question, question number 8. If you have observed here properly, how many questions are there here?
Two.
Two, sir.
Two things you have to answer, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Number one,
First or 6 months.
Like cancellation.
Whether proper officer can cancel it.
Promoter
Cancel
cancellation.
the
Valid
scope.
officer.
number one, yes, number one, whether the
Promoter
action taken by proper
Taken by
officer
the
is
proper officer
valid
is
law.
within law.
Let us talk about
Valid.
first. Let us talk about this. Yes. 1 second. First, let us talk about this. What is happening here? Mr. X of Haryana intends to start business of supply of building material to various construction sites in Haryana. He has taken a voluntary registration. He didn't become liable to go for registration. He took a voluntary registration in the month of April. However, not commenced any business till December due to lack of working capital. The proper officer suo moto cancelled his registration. Tell me whether the action taken by the proper officer is valid or not.
Yes, sir.
It's valid, sir.
Why?
Valid, sir.
For the
When a
past 6 months, there is no business.
6 months you commence the business, sir.
So what?
Within 6 months. You
So-
should commence it.
According to the relevant provision,
He
when
did
a
not file the returns
volunteer
for 6 months.
registration,
Who said he did not file the returns?
Divagar, sir.
Sir,
Huh?
who has taken voluntary registration has to commence business within 6 months, sir.
Within 6 months, sir.
Exactly, Roshni, very good, correct. Who said he didn't file the returns? Here the answer.
Divagar, sir.
Divakar, don't assume the things. Huh?
Okay,
Please
sir.
understand, you can make assumptions, but reasonable assumptions.
Okay, sir.
Right. Okay, see, we have seen cancellation of registration. There are two ways. One is suo moto by the proper officer. The other is voluntary cancellation by you. Clear?
Cancellation.
So in that again, there are two different sets. In one set, there are some reasons. In those cases, either you can ask for cancellation, voluntary cancellation, or department can come and cancel. That is suo moto cancellation. You remember death of the proprietor, amalgamation, merger, demerger,
Yes,
all
sir.
this stuff. Change in the constitution of the business, all these cases. But there are again different cases where there is a suo moto cancellation by the proper officer. If you are not filing the returns, if you are going against the like because of anti-profiteering measures, or one such case is like what?
Fake invoice.
You are
There is
taking
no business at all
voluntary
in the registered
registration,
place.
but not commenced the business within 6 months. You are
6
raising the
months.
invoices without actually making any supply. Do you remember fake invoices?
Violation of Rule 86
So
B
yes, so the point here is
10A.
if at all you have taken a voluntary registration and not commenced the business within 6 months, the law has given power to the proper officer to go and make a suo moto cancellation of the registration. So whatever the action taken by the proper officer is very much valid in the eyes of law.
Yes.
Correct. So now, first thing they asked us whether the action taken by the proper officer is valid in law. Absolutely, it is valid. Right? Okay, fine.
Valid.
Is that the only question? No, they have
No.
extended the question and
No,
again they
sir.
have asked us, Mr. X, now what obviously proper officer has cancelled the registration. So what will I do next? I will go to the proper officer and say, yeah, please revoke my cancellation order. Yeah, that means what you are doing and begging the proper officer, sir, cancel the cancellation order, sir.
Yes.
It can be
No,
cancelled
no.
within.
Can it be revoked? Actually, tell me whether revocation of cancellation can be done.
It
Yes,
can be
sir.
done, sir.
Yes, sir.
But that is not the question here. That is not the question here.
Make the
This
default.
stupid fellow is asking for revocation after 40 days. What is the time limit, my dear friends? What is the time limit actually?
30 days.
30 days.
30 days.
30
Within
days.
30 days,
available.
you should go for the within 30 days from the date of service of the order of cancellation, you should go and ask for the revocation. For begging also, there is a time limit. You should beg within the time limit. What this fellow is doing, this fellow is going
30
after
days.
40 days. So after 40 days. So after the time limit, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. Now what has happened? Department contends that application for revocation of cancellation can be made only within 30 days, of course, yes, from the date of service of the order of cancellation. Okay, very good. But what Mr. X is doing, I think Mr. X is also a student, so he knows the law.
Amendment.
What he's saying?
Yes, sir.
He is saying that, sir, based upon the sufficient grounds being
Rounds being
shown,
shown.
Focus.
you can allow me, you can extend the validity, extend the time period, condone the delay. That is what he is asking.
Joint Commissioner.
You are required to
Commission.
comment upon the validity of contention raised by department and Mr. X.
It can be extended by joint
Department's
commission.
contention is valid, yes, within 30 days you should apply for the revocation. But still in the law has given the
Power.
option for the taxpayer where if he shows the
Focus.
Sufficient grounds.
cause, sufficient grounds for the delay, whether it can be extended, whether the delay can be condoned.
It can be, yes, it can be
By
extended.
whom? By whom? You or me?
Additional commissioner or joint commissioner
Additional commissioner or joint commissioner? How many days?
for 30 days.
For
30 days.
For 30 days.
30 days.
And
For
And
by
by
commissioner by
commissioner.
another 30 days.
by commissioner by another 30 days, right? So here it is only 40 days delay. So who can condone the delay here? The additional commissioner or joint commissioner, if the sufficient grounds being shown by the taxpayer, can condone the delay and can accept the revocation application.
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's the answer. Shall we look at the answer? Shall we look at the answer?
Yes, sir.
Eighth question. So question number 8, look at the answer. And please understand, you should be focusing on words like this. Period not exceeding. And by further period not exceeding. So these type of words you should be focusing. Clear? Is that clear? Shall we proceed? Shall we proceed? So please understand, I repeat, whenever you are reading the RTP, MTP suggested answers, especially the theory papers, make sure you are reading the answers properly so that you will get better grip over the sentence formations. Right, that is question number 8, I guess. Right, let us move on to question number 10. I guess most of the students may not be able to answer this regarding exemptions. How many of you revised exemption? The soft copy handout I shared with you, all the exemptions. I gave you some summary kind of handout. That one.
Right.
If you have revised it, maybe a little bit here and there you can try. Yes. Fine, fine. Go through the answer. Go through the questions. We'll go parallelly. Let us not waste time. Geeta Services Limited, registered under GST, is engaged in providing various services to government. The company provides the following information in respect of services provided during the month of April. So this is something related to the month of April, and they are engaged in what? Providing services to government.
Government.
Right? Yes. So what is the first type of service they have given? See, they have given the list of services, my dear friends. Understand, they have given the list of services and they ask you comment on taxability or otherwise of the above transaction. You have to comment. They didn't give you the value, they didn't ask you the value of taxable supply, nothing. Just they ask you to comment on the taxability. That means you have to say whether it is taxable or exempt and what is the reason. Fine. So let us go with the first one. What is the first one, my dear friends? Supply of manpower for cleanliness of roads, not involving any supply of goods.
Labor services, sir. Exempted. Labor services.
Please understand, pure labor services provided to government. Exempt from GST. Pure labor services. Pure labor services. Clear? Okay. So this is exempt. That is the reason they specifically told not involving any supply of goods. If at all there is any involvement of supply of goods and services both, then it becomes a composite supply where both goods and services are being supplied. In that case, is there any exemption? Do you remember?
Not more than 25% of value.
Exactly. If it is both goods and services, worth of goods, how much I can supply means 25% of the worth goods out of the total supply I can supply. That means if it is the value of supply is 1 lakh, out of that if I am using 25,000 worth goods, that is fine, exempt. If I use more than that, taxable. First what they did is they came up with a law where they gave the exemption only for pure labor services. Then later on they understood it is quite obvious when they are providing services, some part of goods may also be supplied. Just like they are cleaning the roads here, right? Example, they are cleaning the roads. Now, for maintaining these roads, for cleaning these roads, obviously you'll be seeing on both sides of the roads, they'll be like laying this bleaching powder or some other chemicals. Yes or no? Is it a good? Is it a good? That means to maintain the cleanliness of the roads, obviously they are using some goods also. So they have understood, the lawmakers have understood the reality. So they have came up with the relaxation. Okay, even though it is not a pure labor service, if you use some part of goods in the supply of service, if the worth of the goods are not exceeding 25% of the total supply, then also still you can enjoy the exemption. So pure labor services also you can enjoy the exemption, and even if it is not a pure labor supply or pure labor services, if the worth of the goods used are not exceeding 25% also you can enjoy the exemption. That is what the story there, right? Now, what is the second one? What is the second one? Services provided by fair price shops owned by Geeta Services Limited by way of sale of sugar under public distribution system. Do you know what is the meaning of this fair price shops?
Ration shop.
Exactly, the ration shops. Ration shop dealers. Geeta Services Limited is acting as a ration shop dealer here. So it is getting some commission. Taxable or exempt?
Exempted.
Exempt from GST. So for fair price shops, the exemption is given. Under public distribution system, whatever the fair price shops are
Sugar, oils.
supplying the things, then it is exempt from GST. Is that clear? Is that clear? So this is also exempt, right? Next. Point number 3. Service of maintenance of street lights in a municipal area involving replacement of defunct lights and other spares along with maintenance. Generally, replacement of defunct lights and other spares constitutes 35% of the supply of service.
We just said like
More
only
than
25% can be given.
So taxable or exempt this one?
Taxable.
Taxable, sir.
Taxable.
Full 10%.
Fully.
Full, sir.
Fully, sir.
Full amount is taxable. This is taxable because this cannot enjoy the benefit of that exemption entry. Clear? So here, because the worth of the goods they are using is 35% of the total supply, but exemption is available only if it is 25% or less. Clear? Hope it is clear. Final one, fourth one. I think fourth one you can answer.
So 70% exemption.
75%.
Taxable, sir.
Is this taxable or exempt?
It is taxable.
Is this taxable? Why?
Taxable, sir.
Sir, 100% is not borne by government, sir.
So 100%.
It's like now 75% should be borne
Now
by
it
the
is
government.
75%. There is an amendment, right? So now there is
Yes,
an
sir.
amendment. There should be 75%. At least if government is bearing 75%, then fine. No need of 100%. At least 75% also fine. But here only 70%. So total it is
Taxable.
taxable, right? So please understand here what you are doing. You are just giving the reason. Reason, half of the reason, not half, 80% of the reason is there in the question itself. Correct? So exemptions are not going to be difficult for you. Only thing is, whatever the summary sheet I have shared with you, please revise it twice. And whatever we have discussed in detail, that is more than sufficient. Clear? One last theory question. What is that? Straight theory question. Restrictions have been imposed on the use of amount available in the electronic credit ledger wide Rule 86B of the CGST Rules 2017. Is there any exceptions to Rule 86B? If yes, state the exceptions.
Total taxable value more than 50 lakhs.
Yes, sir.
This is the reason why we should remember the important section numbers and rules at least. Why? Because they didn't give what the bloody concept they are testing here.
You are in.
Yes, sir.
It straight away said Rule 86B, that's all.
B.
Yes.
What is Rule 86B?
1%.
Percentage of payment should be
1%.
Value of supply exceeds 50 lakhs per month.
1% of payment through cash.
Yes, exactly. So the restrictions have been imposed on the use of amount available in the e-credit ledger. At least this, okay, fine. You have a little bit of hint what is happening. Okay. By Rule 86B. Okay. Is there any exception to the Rule 86B? If yes, state the exception. Are they asking you what is Rule 86B, to whom it is applicable?
No,
What
nothing.
happens there?
Nothing.
Straight away asking you, are there any exceptions?
Yes, sir.
Are there any exceptions?
Yes.
To government
Yes,
and
sir.
What are
local
the
bodies.
exceptions? Do you remember the exceptions?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What are the exceptions?
If
Who
a
applies
refund,
to
If there is a
One
refund
times
which is to be received more than 1 lakh, then only.
and
And,
income tax
for-
Somebody, I
paid.
heard that somebody said
Yeah.
refund more than 1 lakh.
Partnership
Okay,
whole
any
time
other-
like that.
Huh?
Partners.
Directors.
Person who is
Director.
actually
Or,
paying
He has
more
paid
than 1%
director.
in
Karta.
cash.
More than
Karta,
1 lakh.
okay.
What they paid? What they paid?
Income tax.
Income tax.
Exactly.
Income tax.
When-
more than
For
one
when-
lakh.
financial year, 2 years.
For the
In the preceding two financial year,
Two
each
years.
financial year they should have paid more than 1 lakh, correct?
1 lakh.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, right. Next.
Person who
So,
actually paid
government-
more than 1% of taxable value in cash.
In cash till date, correct? In the financial year,
Yes,
in the
sir.
current
Yes, sir.
financial year. In the current financial year, already he has paid the tax
More
liability.
than
He has already
1%.
discharged the tax liability more than 1% in cash. Then for him, this 86B is not applicable. Next. Amendments. We have seen amendments.
Local body, to government, sir. Local.
What is
To
that?
government, local authority, Body corporate.
That
So
specified
government
person.
department or agencies or local authority or statutory bodies, this 86B rule is not applicable.
Yes, sir.
Clear? So that's the story there. So this is the answer for you. This is the answer for you. Please understand one thing. Don't worry about, like, once you are reading the answers in the theory subjects, don't worry about their presentation. They have seen the book, they have copied and they have pasted here. So we don't have that luxury in the main exam. So you don't worry about, okay, this much presentation I cannot do in the main exam. Like that, you need not worry. Right? So that is what all about RTP May 2022. Done? Is that clear? Are you little bit comfortable at least? Right? Yes. Fine. So for more videos like this, please stay tuned to your favorite indirect access channel, Mr. GST CA Vishnuvardhan. Thank you.